Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Well, effective Monday, 9th March, most public service offices will be closed as the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG, has declared a nationwide strike over conditions of service. The announcement was made in a statement issued shortly after CLOGSAG's national executive meeting right here in Accra this afternoon. Well, coming up on your screens now, excerpts from that statement, the statement that they put out earlier, and it's just tabling their next line of action. It states there, the head of the Civil Service Office in Accra, that's the number of individuals they copied. Now, this is declaration of nationwide strike. Stay at home until further notice. And notice to all members of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana, CLOGSAG. As you are aware, the National Executive Council of the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana on Thursday, 19 February 2026, gave notice of the intention of its members to proceed on an industrial action. The issues remain unresolved, they say, and as a result, all staff of the civil service and local government service are enjoined to stay at home with effect from Monday, 9 March 2026 until further notice. And that statement is signed by Isaac Bampo Addo, the Executive Secretary of CLOGSAG. Well, let's broaden the conversation right here on The Pulse. Joining me now is Austin Game. He's a labor expert. We appreciate your time on The Pulse. We're hearing from CLOGSAG their intention to withdraw their services effective 9th of March. I'd like to start with your initial reaction to that. Mr. Game, you will have to unmute for me to hear you clearly.
Thank you. Thank you. Personally, I do not have a reaction because certainly I'm not part of the conflict. However, I am a bit surprised at this point in time of Ghana's development that we still do things outside our own agreed laws and rules that govern the procedure of resolving our differences. CLOGSAG is highly respected among the unions in Ghana, and I hold them in high esteem as well. But I do not know why, in the face of the law, under Section 161 of the Labour Act, which enjoins us to ensure that should there be any concern that you may have concerning your condition of service, either by way of negotiating or implementation being truncated by your employer, you have a place to go. You have to go to and it's compulsory, you must go to the National Labour Commission and have your matter resolved, or look for avenue that would enable the two sides to engage. Now, the law I just quoted, Section 161, says, among other things, that maybe let me read it so that you and I will not be accused of saying something that we do not know about. The law says, cooling off period, a party to an industrial dispute shall not resort to a strike or lockout during the period when negotiation, mediation, or arbitration proceedings are in progress. Now, according to what you said a while ago, they said their negotiation has broken down. If it's broken down, there are other steps to be followed under the law.
Well, the concern they raised in their statement is that the issues they have raised has not been resolved. The reason why they're going ahead to declare this industrial action.
Yes, I agree. And I'm saying that if the issues remain unresolved, there are steps to be followed to have it resolved, because you cannot, under our Industrial Relations Act, our Labor Relations Act now that we have, You cannot resort to strike without having the matter must be resolved. And there are processes outlined clearly under our law and practices to enable you to have the matter resolved. Did they go to the National Labour Commission? Did they sit on the issue? Did they engage the services of maybe a mediator, an arbitrator, or did they go to the law court? They have all the avenues open to them. And I'm not against them wanting to, if you go and you have no solution whatsoever, then you can give notice, 7 days notice to the National Labour Commission that if at the end of the expiration of the 7th day, no solution is found, then you can declare a strike. That is called a legal strike. And that's the only time you can go on strike. Not when a matter is seized with them. So I think that they can find a better way of resolving the matter without resorting to strike.
So from where you sit, CLOGSAG is committing an illegality if they proceed on that industrial action on Monday.
Well, because I'm a practitioner, it would be wrong for me to join the bandwagon to say that they are committing illegality. They are not operating within the confines of the law. So they should go and ensure that they operate within the confines of the law. The only body that can declare something illegal will be the law court. We have a labor court in Ghana here. If the Labour Commission look into the matter and exhort them to follow the procedure and they refused, the Labour Commission can even go to court and draw both parties to enable the court to decide what to do. But for now, I think that what they are doing is outside the confines of the law, and therefore you, like you rightly said, somebody can say they are being illegal.
So their decision is not justified as we speak. But we're also wondering who would crack the whip, especially because we know that the Labour front is quite disjointed when it comes to issues like this. They've raised concerns according to them. Their concerns has not been addressed. So even if they go ahead to, declare this nationwide strike, which by what you're telling us right now, it may be outside the confines of the law, who then cracks the whip?
Well, there are two ways of doing this. One, the National Labour Commission is expected to be proactive. Proactive in the sense that under Section 138, they have the right to summon CLOGSAG to their office, even as we speak now, to enable them, ask them to stop what they want to do, and then consequently they will summon the ministries and the heads of the departments, and even the head of civil service itself is supposed to be on their way to the Labour Commission as we speak now, by way of reporting. If they engage them and they will not listen to them, then the head of the civil service, the head of the local government, to where they belong to, supposed to be on their way to the Labour Commission now to report this matter to them, and the Executive Secretary of the Labour Commission will summon them immediately, possibly inviting also the Minister for Labour, Jobs and Employment to enable them discuss the details of the concerns that CLOGSAG may have, and if they do not have any core solution for it, they can appoint somebody immediately to be a mediator in the matter. They can appoint somebody to be an arbitrator should they agree to go for arbitration, or should they go for mediation. There are several options open to us in Ghana here. A thing like this, I can guarantee you what it is that you are telling outside investors that we do not have the means of resolving our differences in labor, so don't come here and invest here. We are just people who can take the law into our own hands in any form or shape we want. It's not fair.
But we've been trying to reach out to CLOGSAG. We've been unsuccessful so far, but we're still trying to reach out to them so that we get an understanding of the processes they have gone through so far. We're also trying to reach out to the Labour Ministry as well, just to get feedback on this. That has been unsuccessful largely, but we're still trying. But Austin, one of the concerns that I'm sure CLOGSAG will raise when they join the conversation is the fact that government has failed to live up to expectations when it comes to their conditions of service.
You see, if you are negotiating, again, under the labor law, when you are negotiating, you are not supposed to even intimidate one another. You are not supposed to even threaten one another. You are not even supposed to put on red band, because that will be tantamount to holding your other up, call them colleagues' hand behind you and insisting that you come and negotiate. We don't do that. It's a civilized process. It's a process where the two parties, that's why the law says that you must share relevant information. If you are seized with the information, what it means is that both of you are on the same page. You can sit down and negotiate as civilized people. And civilized people don't go on strike. The employer cannot lock the door on them. The employer cannot refuse to negotiate with them. The employer will be wrong by way of saying that they will not negotiate with them. And if they've completed the negotiation already and they are not implementing, they still must go to the National Labour Commission, report the conduct of the employer. And the employer is not above the law. Even the office of the president can be summoned. The office of the vice president herself can be summoned. The only person that cannot be summoned to any such place is the president. But the office of the president can be summoned. Therefore, the chief of staff can be summoned. The ministers can be summoned. So who is it that they are negotiating with that is not responding? And where did they go to have the matter resolved? Because I know the capability of the Labour Commission people there now. And I think it's very, very important that we take this thing seriously. I'm happy you are talking to me.
And then the big concern now from CLOGSAG front is probably the concern that it appears the National Labour Commission is in bed with government.
It is not possible because the parties that constitute the commission are not an appendage of government. They were selected by, including the CLOGSAG members themselves, selected 2 people to be there. Even the chairman of the commission is their baby. So the chairman of the commission cannot respond to government by way of saying that government as an employer should either implement or not implement. They cannot do that because 2 of the members there are from employers, 2 of the members there are from the unions, selected inclusive of CLOGSAG. So how can their own member who they select to go and protect their interests be against them? That's how we constructed the law. So the law gives room for unbiased, impartial, and on top of it, we have people who are mediators, well-balanced people who are completely impartial, who can be engaged. And even now, I understood we have now gotten a new officer appointed as the National ADR Center, so they can go anywhere to seek help, and they can be helped. So there is no way we should be doing what we want to do. I will urge them to suspend their action and go to the National Labour Commission or look for the new executive secretary of the ADR Center and look for somebody to assist them to resolve their conflicts.
But the concern now is that it appears in our part of the world, you say civilized countries, they do not embark on strike, but in our part of the world, it appears that's the only language government understands. You disagree?
I disagree 100%. Even the workers, they do not understand the language of only, it's just lack of knowledge, lack of skill, lack of understanding and appreciation of how to navigate your way through the labor law. And our labor law is not a theory. It's a practical thing that to be exercised by unions, employers, and our urge, in this case, government as an employer. It ceases to be government because government is politically understood to be government. but government is also an employer. And this employer must subordinate himself to nothing but the National Labour Commission. Is the body so clothed with power, indeed, let me say tremendous power, to summon anybody to their office to have their matters resolved. And there is no way the employer can say, I will not attend unto the call of the National Labour Commission. There's no way.
And then finally, before I let you go, we know that just this week, CLOGSAG set up a review committee, and they've been talking about their concerns about the recommendations made by the Constitution Review Committee with regards to setting up an independent Controller Accountant General's Department. In the wake of concerns that their conditions of service is poor and not being reviewed by government, do you think their calls are justified?
Well, I read that piece of news. I was a little taken aback. Indeed, they have the right to air their views, but that should be limited to what we call views. Because even the commission itself or the Constitutional Review Committee itself did nothing but to make recommendations. Recommendations are not positions hoisted and imposed upon the nation. They submitted it, and we all know that it has to go to a process by way of ensuring that it finally lands on the table of Parliament and eventually to the citizenry, including members of CLOGSAG. They will have opportunity to either vote to not to accept that or to accept it. Whichever way it is, now it's a lobbying game for all of us. I would like to support part of the idea of CLOGSAG that maybe the Controller and Accountant General Department should continue to be part or to be controlled by the Ministry of Finance, but they should be worried about the type of action they are taking, like this one. Therefore, if they have the body not as a government body, the fear is that maybe they will not have control over them, or they will not be members of their union again. If that is the fear, they should stop exercising that fear, because we have people in this country, like my company, like your station, people are free to join union. Your station, the people there are free to join union. And private companies, several private companies, some of which I am a consultant to, their workers are union members, and we negotiate on daily basis on their conditions of service. Local and civil service people, CLOGSAG, can always have opportunity to negotiate their concerns, including what they are calling concerns that they have. So they shouldn't worry. They should rather take their matter to where appropriate. Otherwise, these are the type of comments they will hear.
Thank you so much, Austin Game, for your time here on The Pulse. We made attempts to reach out to CLOGSAG. Unfortunately, we've been unsuccessful, as well as the Labour and Employment Ministry. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission as well, we've been unsuccessful. Once we have them, we'll get their reaction to this. But away from that, the National Disaster Management Organization has stepped up efforts to curb the impact of flooding in the Greater Accra region, beginning a series of inspections in flood-prone areas, I beg your pardon. The exercise forms part of the organization's preparations ahead of the rainy season and is aimed at ensuring drains are properly desilted and maintained to contain floodwaters and address the region's recurring flooding challenge. The team is being led by NADMO's Director General, Joseph Bikanyi Kuyon, alongside other senior officials of the organization, with support from military officers assisting the exercise.
NADMO is taking very drastic measures to address the flooding situation in parts of Accra. This tour, led by the Director General of the National Disaster Management Organization, has visited so many areas, and they are monitoring these areas and ensuring that they take tougher measures in order to address the perennial flooding in parts of Accra. We are currently at the Kweshi Lagoon, where some demolition exercise took place about a month ago. The DG is here to monitor this particular situation and ensure that people do not return here in order to address the general flooding situation in parts of Accra. So let's engage him to know what is the mission behind this particular step, among other things. DG, thank you very much. Talk to us about this step taken by NADMO in terms of, addressing flooding, among other things.
Thank you very much. I always say that managing disaster is a process, not an event. We embarked on flood preparedness and prevention since last year, and we're witnesses to His Excellency himself touring some parts of Accra to acquaint with the flashpoints and preparations that were being done. And after that, we have worked along the line with the various MCEs and then the local authorities to ensure that we are ready and prepared should flood occur. And not only that, to also ensure that as much as possible we prevent it from occurring. And so we did some demolitions, we cleared drains at Okaikwe, where we stopped first. You saw the work that has been done on the drain after the President's visit. And in Gai East, you saw the work that has been done after the flooding. I think that was the last flooding serious incident last year. It took about 5 lives. The way I saw the drain at that time and today, it gives me hope that we are doing some work to revert the adverse past, that we don't see those things happen again. And as you can see, it's not like past demolition exercises that you witness. We used to demolish and abandon the place and the people come back. But you can see after demolition, work is continuing. We have started clearing the debris of where we demolished. And as you can see, the heaps of sand, dozers have come here to heap the sands. What is temporarily holding us is what we spoke about at Ega East, about the drip equipment. The drip equipments are there, but they are not enough. So we need to marshal logistics. This work, if we leave it to drip equipments and what I have at NADMO, it will take us months to clear the debris. But if we can get support and raise logistics from other agencies, it can be done in a week or 2.
So what kind of support would you need?
Yeah, we need more excavators, we need more payloaders, we need more dozers, we need more tipper trucks, so that this work can be done rapidly, and then dredging can begin at the other end of the lagoon.
So apart from the equipment, I'm sure that you would also need some financial support. How much do you think would help NADMO in clearing some of these drains and also help you to do your work ahead of the rainy season?
A beggar has no choice. Whatever anybody can support us with, we'll be grateful to the person. And so we are saying it's a shared responsibility. Disaster management is not one person's business. It's not government business alone. Civil society, the business community, they all have a stake in ensuring that our society becomes resilient and safe.
So you can put a figure to it?
If I put a figure to it, I'll be limiting myself, because we are not limiting ourselves, because work is extensive nationwide. It's not only in Accra. So as much as we can raise, even if after basic prevention measures have been done, we need to create resilience, that is fortifying these river bodies and drains to ensure that they last for as long as possible to keep our nation resilient and safe.
Part of Accra expects more demolition ahead of the rainy season, because I think there are concerns of people blocking waterways, among others. Should we expect more demolition in Accra?
That is sure. There will be more demolition, because you can see today, we demolished this place, cleared structures. Today you are here, you saw people putting up other things. And so we would ensure that people are forced to obey the law. We will ensure.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Let's also speak with the DC or the MC for this area in relation to this demolition or this exercise to address the flooding situation in parts of Accra. MC, talk to us. Would you support this initiative, and what would you do? What role will you play to ensure that NADMO addresses this challenge?
All right. Thank you very much. For disaster, we know it doesn't have any party colors, it doesn't leave any tribe out, any group of persons out. So to have NADMO come to our assistance by helping to remove illegal structures and helping stop the silting of waterways, that somebody can do nothing but to support them. So we are in support of helping to stop the filling of the drain, the lagoon itself, and then the illegal structures on the stretch, because it's a buffer and shouldn't have any physical structures on it. So we support NADMO in this cause. It's a national cause, so as part of the government, we cannot be against our own government. We have to support the government so we achieve part of what we call the reset agenda.
I think the concerns for many is that mostly the assemblies you said aloof, you want this structure, people begin to put up these structures, then you now want to go and stop them. Why is that you wouldn't take preventive measures even before these people engage in building illegal structures?
So in the past, that was one of the mistakes possibly the assemblies have done by allowing people. I doubt they were giving permissions to be here. People were here without permits. But we don't want to repeat such old mistakes, past mistakes. That is why we want to clear the place and have the place set for the ecological purpose it is meant to be. So the assembly will not wait and watch people put up any illegal structures here anymore. We will ensure that the lagoon is dredged and then put it to better use, that to benefit the entire locality.
Thank you very much. So that is the DC MC for this particular area, and many of the MCs across parts of Accra have expressed their commitment to support NADMO in achieving this particular situation and ensure that the perennial flooding in Accra is addressed. Reporting for JoyNews, I'm Fatal Bayaga, Accra.
Well, let me bring in now Dr. Joseph Kuyung. He is the Director General for NADMO. We appreciate your time here on The Pulse. So far, which areas have you visited, and what is the assessment that you've gathered?
I didn't hear you well.
Dr. Joseph, you have to position rightly and speak up for us to hear you.
No, I'm saying that I want your question again. I'm
saying that you've been visiting some parts of the Greater Accra region today. What evidence have you gathered in some of the places regarding flood-prone areas, and what should we be expecting in coming days?
Yeah, so we commenced our visit since morning. To put it in a few words, I would say that it's positive. Positive in the sense that we visited these places at the beginning of our administration. We saw the state in which they were. And today, as I go around, I see a marked improvement. It means that some work is being done, and that is a sign of hope that we are getting ourselves in readiness for prevention and preparedness.
And in which areas are you seeing improvement?
First, we went to Okaikwe North, which was part of the president's visit last year. It was one of the areas he toured last year before the rainy season. And when I went there today, I realized that the concrete slabs that were broken, that allowed siltation, sand to silt up the drain. Concrete slabs have been reconstructed, as well with some finishing touches, and that gives us the sense of hope that definitely will be ready before this year's resetting. And we continue to go east, where last year we had some lives lost due to flooding. The drain, as I saw at that time, what I saw today, so much has been done on the drain. They have desilted, they've cleared portions of it. I hear it's about 12 kilometers or so that has been cleared. And I believe that by the end of this month to next month, we should have been able to clear up whatever is left to be cleared, and we'll get ready before the rain sets in. We ended up at Kweshi, as your reporter rightly said. We did a demolition there. Today, I just want to ensure that what we set for ourselves to do, we are doing it. It is not demolition and abandon the place, but you demolish and ensure that you consistently engage the place, put it to better use for the community and for the nation, so that people don't get back to encroach on the buffer zones of the lagoon. They saw it themselves. The media were witnesses to the fact that work is ongoing over there. So that's a sense of hope for all of us.
And so far, how many buildings have you earmarked to demolish, looking at the rains that we know will be coming soon?
I always tell people that I don't count buildings. My duty is to ensure that anything that is on waterway, anything that's blocking water from flowing freely to make the community safe is cleared. Whether it's a building, it is a wall, it is whatever. It will be cleared to ensure that when it rains, water gets its way uninterrupted.
And which area should we expect you to conduct more demolition in the coming days?
We all are aware of the flashpoints and the various water bodies that we have in Accra. None is left unencroached. Every water body in the city, and not only Accra, in our cities, people have tried to encroach on them. What it means is that a lot of work has to be done. Accra is not an excuse from this encroachment. So after we finished with Kweshi, last year we did some places, including Sakumono, Wejagbawe. People have come back there. They think that is the end, but we want to use Kweshi as a model and transform the place so that when we get back to other places, the community itself will be willing to support us to demolish and transform their communities for them.
But if these individuals keep returning to sites you have demolished, what measures are you putting in place to ensure it doesn't occur moving forward?
And that is why we are not leaving the land fallow. Once we demolish, we will engage and transform the place into what we want it to be and fence off, so that whoever is coming to encroach sees a clear demarcation that beyond this place, no construction work is permitted. And I believe that should be a sign of deterrence to anybody who would like to encroach, because you can see the clear demarcation. The place is not fallow, it is green. Are you cut down the tree? Or what? So engage the land and ensure that people don't get the opportunity to come back to
another key concern is the concern about the attitude of individuals. I know that you've been touring some areas, so you noticed that one of the biggest challenge we're facing, should we have heavy rains like GMET is predicting, would be choked drains. How do you plan to deal with that aspect of it as well?
Well, people are always difficult. We know that in society there are people that cannot play by responsibility. And so that is why we have laws to restrain people from doing what is not right. So our duty is to ensure that wherever we have waterways and the law does not permit people to be there and they are there, we get them out of the place.
Another concern is that I know that you've been embarking on desilting exercises, especially in the Greater Accra region. But the concern is that after desilting the drains, you leave the filth on the shoulder of the drain, making the problem persist. How do you plan to deal with that effectively moving forward?
At this time, we don't do that. That is why we work with tipper trucks. We ensure that whatever has been desilted is carried to a dumping point or a dumping site to ensure that it doesn't get back into the drain. This time, we don't drain and leave the drains by the gutter. Otherwise, we haven't done anything. It will get back into the drain and choke it. So we desilt and carry it away. What I always say is that this is a process. It's not an event. The fact that you have desilted doesn't mean that's the end of it. Time to time, you monitor, and if there's a need to desilt again, you do that to ensure that the drain stays ready for rains that will come.
And this exercise that you're embarking on, should we expect you to do the same in other regions, or you're just focusing on the Greater Accra region for now?
Like I said, the focus is in the cities for now.
So we should expect this in Kumasi as well?
Kumasi, Taprade, Cape Coast, every urban settlement. But that's where the problem is now. If we're able to work to ensure that the urban settlements are safe and that we have enough drains and waterways to ensure we don't experience flooding, then we are getting somewhere. Then we can look into the hinterlands and how to recreate or regenerate nature to ensure that rivers that existed and are no more in existence are brought back into existence. So it is everywhere, not only in Accra. All the cities are experiencing it. I've engaged my regional directors, the metropolitan directors, and we are working together as a team across Ghana.
But do you have the logistics to embark on this project, especially because you raised concerns about logistics and you are hoping to touch all the major cities in the country? Do you have the logistics? How do you plan to go about it as you await even government intervention?
We don't have enough logistics. But like I said, we don't work in isolation. For now, we are working together with all the local government authorities at various levels of administration, region and districts, metropolitan assemblies. Beyond that, we are engaging other government agencies that have this logistics, like the earth moving equipment, to be able to come on board and support us to achieve our aim.
And can you give us specifics, like what's the quantum of support you would be needing, if you can put it specifically?
I say the same thing when somebody asks how much money I need. This is a nationwide exercise, so as much as we can get logistics, we'll be happy, because it will help us not only do the work but speed it up.
Stay with me, because I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you to find out some other key concerns that we're receiving on all our social media platforms. People are raising concerns about your response, especially when there is flooding in communities, your response time and the items you actually share to them. All that is coming on all our social media platforms. We'll be reading their messages to you shortly, so please stay with me. Let me bring in Naya Akwada just to look at the safety part of this. We've just heard from GMET, and he is a public safety expert, so he joins us with perspective on that. GMET tells us we should brace ourselves for more rains this year, especially. And now we're hearing from NADMO tell us the plans they have on the ground to deal with this. Is it enough?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers and your listeners as well. Let me use this opportunity to also congratulate Doctor on his appointment as the NADMO director. I think that their efforts are highly commendable, especially collaborating with other state agencies with regard to the metropolitan and district assemblies to initiate this program. The proactive effort that they have, embarked on is a necessary step towards reducing the risk of flooding that continues to threaten lives, homes, livelihoods in many of our communities, right? Flooding in Ghana has become a recurring public safety challenge, and often it leads to loss of life, destruction of properties, displacement of families, outbreak of waterborne diseases, and so on and so forth. So I wish to commend them for, being this, taking this initiative. While seasonal cleanup exercises are important, right? I think that we must be clear that flood disasters are largely preventable. Okay, they are preventable with proper planning, maintenance, enforcement when these are carried out throughout the year. So for us at the Bureau, what we would want to see is that this is not limited to just the seasonal, but that it is continuous. It becomes a continuous program. Aside that, we must also tackle the root cause. The root cause is very important because, look, maintaining this is expensive. Sustaining this is very, very expensive. It's a drain on the taxpayers and the public purse. So what do we do about people indiscriminately littering? What do we do about, people just throwing things anywhere, blocking drains, people not being disciplined in how they carry out waste, among other things? Those are the areas that we need to look at. What do we do? How do we interface with the Ghana Highway Authority and other developmental hard infrastructure development agencies or bodies in the country to ensure that our planning and our hard infrastructure, fiscal infrastructure development are put in place such that, they do not counter, aspects like flooding.
And it's interesting you make mention of that because concerns have been raised that the Assembly appears to be complicit, allowing some of these individuals build unchecked, and then we have to come back to find a way to move them out. We've been hearing from the new DG for NADMO tell us that, in fact, areas where they have embarked on these demolition exercises in Waja and other areas, they are now finding out during their inspection today that these individuals have returned.
Well, so like I was saying, it's enforcement, right? It's enforcement because we need to enforce our laws, our building regulations, our spatial zoning laws, our spatial restrictions. We need to enforce these. We cannot look the other way when people develop, unauthorized structures. Sometimes they go beyond, what sometimes the laws, the courts will even allow. And when the courts come in and we have to demolish, they become political, hot potatoes around, throwing from left to right. So it's important that we also have a system where we hold city authorities accountable. We hold individuals accountable. I am a safety professional. In the enterprise level where I will be working, in some other jurisdictions, you as a professional, you could go to jail when you do not file certain reports, when you do not follow certain guidelines. They will just leave the organization, handpick you, and put you to jail. What happens to our people in the various metropolitan and district assemblies who look the other way when we have mandated them to, to guide the spaces and make sure that unauthorized structures do not spring up? They look the other way. Sometimes they advise the people, when to carry out such, constructions, so that by the break of day, the structure is already there and they feign ignorance. We must begin to hold them accountable. Otherwise, they draw salaries for doing nothing. So these are aspects that we really, really, really need to look at. Accountability should be key. And I'm telling you, in all jurisdictions where we see a sense of sanity, where we see a semblance of harmony, people are held accountable, and that is what makes them work. They know that if it is found out that this structure was put up during my tenure, I could face consequences for that. They know that even if the state doesn't come after me and that property is, destroyed, the owner of that property could sue me alongside the state agency. But we don't see all that in Ghana. So people look the other way, allow construction of structures and waterways, and there's weak enforcement that we ourselves create of sanitation and planning laws all these continue to undermine our national efforts to mitigate, the flooding problem. And so I think that, look, NADMO's effort should be highly commended. I wish that they find the resources, especially as they are collaborating with the MMDCs to work to, clean up the spaces and sanitize the system.
Now, it's interesting you make mention of the resources, because we've just been hearing from NADMO tell us that they actually need help with logistics.
Again, I missed that. I think I missed that. What did you say?
I'm saying that NADMO says that they would be needing help with logistics because they are actually handicapped in that area. How would this impact us moving forward, looking at the GMET's prediction of heavy rains?
Well, I think it's up to the state to provide the resources NADMO needs. Once NADMO is collaborating with the MMDCs must also have a budget for this. And so all, these state metropolitan, municipal, and district authorities should also pool their budgets together to support NADMO to do this. I'm not expecting that NADMO is going to dip its hand into its budget and then use all for prevention, when we know that at the end of the day, considering the timing that they've even started work, most definitely they would have to respond to some disaster. So I would not advise that they deplete all their resources in the name of prevention, and then when disaster strike, they will go cap in hand begging. It will be too late. So NADMO has to be strategic. The work they are doing primarily should have been championed by the various MMDCs. MMDCs. But if they have decided to take leadership and lead it, which is commendable, they must get the MMDCs to contribute or pool resources together to support them carry out this, so that they will have a budget enough to respond to emergencies if, or as we all know, when they occur.
And Nana, just as we wrap up the conversation, moving forward, as a journalist, I know each time it rains, I can predict the headlines. Heavy downpour, homes submerged. That's how we report it. So this thing happens annually. Looking at the strategy NADMO is adopting, will it be effective in curbing the issue of flooding in the Greater Accra region and other parts of the country?
I'm not too sure about your choice of word, curbing. Maybe my understanding is limited on curbing, but I think that it will go a long way to reduce, the flooding across cities if this is done very well. But we will certainly see flooding. We will certainly see properties go down. We may see lives also lost. But if NADMO, together with the city authorities and the public safety agencies, I'm talking the police and the ambulance services, do a good job, they liaise very well with GMET, I'm sure that they will be able to carry out relevant or necessary, if you like, limited evacuations to ensure that when these rains pour and flooding occurs, we will not lose lives. We will have people, evacuated from the areas that normally get flooding. We will be able to evacuate people. I think that early warnings will really help, because as we see, there are some stretches in Accra towards Central Region area, some areas in Kumasi, Western Region, and even the Volta region. Some areas there do flood, and it's not just vicinities that flood. Sometimes it's an entire stretch of street that floods. We must be able to identify these stretches and then possibly close down these roads when we anticipate heavy rains, in those areas. I think that if we do an effective collaboration with the public safety agencies, we should be able to, see less chaos during this year's rainy season. And once again, let me say that the leadership demonstrated by the Director General is commendable. I'm hoping that he will be clinical in this effort and very collaborative, so that at least this year we can hear a different story when the rains pour down.
Thank you so much, Nanaya Akwada. I still have with me Dr. Joseph on the line. Doc, just before we let you go, we've just been receiving comments on social media, people raising concerns about NADMO response, especially when there's flooding. We heard from Nanaya Akwada tell us that we may not be able to curb it completely, but we can reduce it, meaning that there may be flooding situations which NADMO will have to deal with. When it comes to your response time, are you going to be assuring us that moving forward you'll be dealing with flood situations more promptly?
I want to be sincere with you. Response time is a relative term.
Okay.
Somebody in distress, response time would never be enough for that person. The person will wish that soon as the situation hits, somebody should be there to lift them out of it. But I can assure you that NADMO has always been swift in responding to disasters. The reason is we are cut across every community. There are NADMO officers in every community. So as soon as the incident happens, they call the emergency operation center, and action is triggered. So in the shortest possible time, depending on the distance, we're able to get there. And I can tell you, we have a networked communication system. The other responders to disasters, like 48 engineers, like fire service. So these things are spontaneous. So sometimes we get there together. But the people who are in the situation will still see the time as long. Even in the real sense of it, it's not been long for us to get there. But because they are in need, they would think that we didn't respond swiftly. But it has always been that we do our best to make sure we give a rapid response to every emergency.
And then finally, I'm just wondering, moving forward, do you even have enough items in your storehouse to help with some of the distribution that you may have to do post-flooding scenarios that we may be facing in the coming days?
Of course, we do have some strategic stocks. These strategic stocks are meant to react to situations when they happen. Once we give the immediate response, we are able to organize ourselves for any further need to support the victims. But definitely, NADMO has something that will give immediate relief to whoever is in an emergency situation before we get the detailed victims affected, property destroyed, and then the real need that the people will need to be given. Then that support is also given to them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph, for your time here on The Pulse. And we will be monitoring your exercise across the country and give our audience updates. Well, away from that, let's head now to Parliament, where the minority in Parliament is taking aim at government over its failure to implement the reviewed conditions of service for the Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana. We told you that the union has declared an indefinite strike set to take effect from Monday, 8th of March, a move that could significantly disrupt operations across the civil service. Speaking on JoyNews, to JoyNews in Parliament, members of Parliament were sharply divided, really, along partisan lines, while MPP MPs threw their weight behind the strike and demanded the immediate implementation of the agreement. Their NDC counterparts urged the union to exercise patience with government, assuring that their concerns will be ultimately addressed.
I believe they are very much concerned about the government inconsistency in dealing with arrears payments or issues regarding conditions of service across board, because when you get government picking and choosing which government institution it wants to pay them because of fear that their strike or demonstration would go against the government, then they would look at the civil service demand around and say that, come on, yours is not as critical as we see in other sectors, so we can delay. That I find is very unfortunate, because you see, these are conditions that they are entitled to, irrespective of the state of the economy that we say, or the government portrays that things are better, the economy looks good. When you go out there to the market, cost of transportation is not easy.
It's unfortunate, first of all, the declaration of strike by CLOGSAG is unfortunate, first of all, and I think that the authorities are going to be looking at it closely, and then we'll see what is due them, and they will be given. I mean, it is not in anybody's interest whatsoever at all that government institution workers declare, strike. I mean, it's not in anybody's interest. His Excellency Mahama, that's not what he's wishing for. Again, let us not forget that we took this economy from a very difficult position, and we're trying to reset this economy and to ensure that every Ghanaian gets what he or she is due. And so we played with my friends in this CLOGSAG to reconsider their decision. His Excellency Mahama would take care of every situation, and I think that will be fine. We'll be fine. I think the authorities will take care of it very soon, and then they will return to work. There should be no problem.
I will call on our colleagues to exercise restraint. This situation was inherited by this government, and the government is working around the clock to find resolution. Even though prices of goods per se have not come down dramatically, we all agree living conditions are better, because inflation is just 3.3, so the rate at which prices are going up is dramatically lower. Fuel prices low, dollar. So even though they're not getting the conditions they're looking for, they are better off under this government. And let me be clear here. This government is not going to renege on the earlier agreement with the previous government, except that we need time to capture all those things. So I will call for restraint. I will call for them to exercise some level of patience, and definitely they're going to be better under this government than the previous one.
While still in Parliament, some members of Parliament say asking them to trade their vehicles for bicycles may be a good point, but it is hardly practical for the job they do. The MPs argue their work requires constant travelling across constituencies and long journeys across the country. Responsibilities, they say, cannot realistically be carried out on two wheels. Speaking to JoyNews in Parliament, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle insist that beyond the demands of their work, all MPs actually purchase their own vehicles with personal funds.
The understanding of these vehicle thing is a whole conversation we're supposed to have. It is important to realize that government do not buy cars for members of parliament. Members of parliament go for loan to buy their car. Those loans are taken from our salaries, and so we pay for the loans that we go for. And so it is not as if government is buying cars and dashing to members of parliament. That's the first thing. We fuel our own cars, we pay our own drivers, and again, we are taking my constituency, for example, into consideration for Etimokwa. Under no circumstances will you want to risk the life of any MP coming from there to ride on a bicycle to come to Parliament from Trifo Etimokwa. It's not even possible. And so I think that we should put all this thing in context. You have directors of institutions, managing directors of institutions who are getting cars from government, are getting drivers, are getting fuel, and so forth and so on. Members of Parliament, we do not have that. We buy our own cars, we fuel our own car, we pay our own drivers. So for me, when we are having a conversation on these things, let's situate it properly so that we do not paint pictures to the Ghanaian people as if though we're dancing in luxury, when in actual fact it is not like that.
Well, I don't think the issue is about bicycle or motorbike or saloon car or Land Cruiser. It's about the best means of transportation to enable you perform your duty as a member of parliament. If I go to my constituency, I don't drive Land Cruiser. The constituency will tell, before I came to parliament, I was driving Land Cruiser, I was driving Prado. But since I became an MP, I've dropped it, because in my constituency, I don't need the Land Cruiser to go around. I go to funerals in my Coleus, Renault Coleus. And so if someone comes from the north and he has to travel all the way to Bolgatanga like Adongo or any others, are you saying that they should use bicycle to go to the north? Or they should, because you don't even have a flight all the way to Bolga. When Haruna Idrisu and Co were traveling to Tumu, even in Land Cruiser with the accident, if they were going on bicycle, what would have been the fate of them? And these are people's representatives. You see, we shouldn't forget that MPs are representative of the entire country. 276 people representing over 30 million Ghanaians. And so their safety, their security should be a concern for everybody.
Yeah, I think we need to step up the education. Some people don't really appreciate the work of members of parliament. Of course, we have some members who are not diligent on their duties. But if you want to be diligent, here we are. It is now past 2 o'clock. We will rise around 4 p.m. And wherever your constituency is, you have to find yourself in for tomorrow's morning's activities. You will finish with the weekend activities on Sunday. We are sitting on Monday, 10 a.m. So it is not easy at all. Just last week, I was in my constituency on 3 different occasions, yet I didn't miss a single sitting here. So if you are diligent on your duties, it is not going to be easy. So when members are driving in, say, cross-country cars, for me, it is not for pleasure, it is not for fun. It is for the hard work members have to do. My friend Ahenkwa, I always travel to constituency with him. When I get to Brekum West, that's something about 9-10 hours. He still has about 2-3 hours to go to get to German North, Sampa, around Cote d'Ivoire border. So shuttling between Accra constituency, attending committee meetings, attending other engagements. Don't forget, even in Accra, you have a number of engagements you attend outside your constituency, outside work in the chamber, outside committee work.
Well, still in Parliament, the Minority Leader Alexander Afeomakin has appealed to the Majority Caucus to desist from displaying placards bearing the image of the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta on the floor of Parliament. His concerns follow strong reservation expressed by the Council of Elders of the New Patriotic Party and the family of Ken Ofori-Atta over the conduct of some majority members of Parliament who were seen holding up placards with his picture during the State of the Nation address. Here is the Minority Leader raising the matter on the floor of Parliament.
To the extent that the colleague is a junior brother of Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, a former finance minister of this republic. No court has found him guilty. We can do our politics, but to also print his pictures deliberately. And that day, the whole world's attention was on this chamber. I would plead through my friend the Chief Whip to ensure that in future any such action is curtailed, controlled, or stopped by him, so that this House would get the needed peace. Because, Mr. Speaker, if we don't stop it, a certain precedent will be set. Today, the Council of Elders have summoned me. That market. What about the caucus? Ken Ofori-Atta, they carried his picture and call him corrupt. What is MPP also doing? I want to assure the Honorable Duke Ofori-Atta, who has persistently, because I was not in the chamber, he still insisted that the family is so concerned that as a caucus, we have not dealt with this matter, and I had to rush into the chamber to make this plea. I don't intend to litigate it, but I am pleading with the Chief Whip and the leadership of the Majority Caucus that enough of Ken Ofori-Atta's name in this chamber and the persecution and the attack on his reputation. He also is a human being, a Ghanaian. He has a wife, he has children, he has extended family, and not the least, he has a brother who is a sitting member with us.
Well, Nelson Rocks in Dafiamepo in response urged the family of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to encourage him to return to Ghana and submit himself to due process.
I am pained. I am pained that
this matter is having some adverse impact on Duke. I am paid. Yes, I am paid because I can gauge the mood. But it's about his elder brother's conduct. Everybody's saying, come and account for us too. I believe that if he were here and going through the processes, nobody will mention his name. So on this note, I want to assure him that we will not antagonize him. Please, we will not antagonize him, especially when his sensibilities are concerned. But we want to urge him to urge his big brother to come home.
Well, still in Parliament, the Minority Leader, Alexander Feyo-Markin, has formally retracted and apologized for corruption allegations he made regarding the ongoing security services recruitment exercise, bringing an abrupt end to the brewing parliamentary standoff. The apology follows a complaint by the Interior Minister, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, who had taken the issue to the head of Parliament. According to him, he says that the claims that the recruitment process is flawed is untenable. Let's listen to Alexander Feyo-Markin apologize.
If, as a speaker, the text of my concerns reflected so, it is hereby accordingly withdrawn. And, Mr. Speaker, as colleagues, when a member feels strongly about a statement which is unintended, the right thing to do is to withdraw and apologize to him. Mr. Speaker, I proceed to do so and to assure him that concerns that would arise out of any matter shall be properly be brought to his attention. But on this matter, as I've said before, I will repeat it for Hansa, that anything related to him or his ministry is withdrawn. And again, apologies to him.
Well, the Interior Minister, Mohammed Mubarak Muntaka, who had earlier complained about the allegations, has been reacting to the Minority Leader's apology.
It is painful to be wrongly accused or your action to be misconstrued and be labeled differently from the intention that you have, especially when it's connoted with criminality and heavy wrongdoing. I will be the first to always say that fight for the right thing to be done. Make sure that wrong things are not done. But let's not do it as though we intend to destroy each other. I am heavily hurt and heavily worried. But who am I to say that I'm going to play God and I will not accept it? I accept it wholeheartedly, and I pray that this guides all of us, myself, the hardworking service commanders that I have, the hardworking staff at the ministry, for us to continue to do the right thing, and to also assure the minority leader and the minority and the whole house that if there are anything that they think needs our attention, we'll be more than happy to look at them and address them. But I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, because even if we go to privileges and a member that you are referring to privileges goes there to say that I'm sorry for all that I've said, it ends the matter. My only plea, Mr. Speaker, is that if it is possible to expound that from our records, and if the debate or the comments made yesterday in any way was also hardship and the House decided that both or all that should be expanded, I think that may do all of us a lot of good.
Well, let's listen to the ruling from the chair after the apology, particularly regarding the referral of the Minority Leader to the Privileges Committee.
I would order that the referral to the Privileges and Immunities Committee for examination, inquiry, and reports is accordingly withdrawn. I will further direct that those words complained about said by the minority leader and complained about by the minority leader is accordingly ordered to be expunged from the record as if it does not exist. By so doing, the matter is put to rest.
Away from Parliament, as Ghana battles the effects of climate change, the focus has largely been on drainage and flooding. But in places like Agbogbloshie, residents are facing extreme urban heat, worsened by toxic pollution and poor housing conditions. On today's Climate Evidence, we focus on the hidden health crisis in one of Accra's most vulnerable slums and ask what happens when climate resilience doesn't reach the margins.
By day, the heat is unbearable. By night, the air is thick with smoke. In Agbogbloshie, Accra's notorious slum, climate vulnerability isn't a theory, it's a struggle. While major parts of the city benefit from the Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development Project, GARD, this part of town is still waiting. The narrow alleys of Agbogbloshie traps heat like an oven. Temperatures inside rooms can soar beyond safe levels, a silent killer few are talking about. Agbogbloshie is one of West Africa's largest informal e-processing hubs. With little regulation, scrap dealers burn metals daily, releasing toxic smoke into already polluted air. But in Agbogbloshie, shade is rare. Trees are few, and promise of climate protection remains far away. For these residents, climate change isn't just about floods or rising sea levels. It's about daily survival under suffocating heat and poison in the air.
The children struggle a lot at night. Recently, my child has been affected by a skin disease.
I
currently sleep at the Cucumber Market. The rent is around 60 cedis per month. We come out to get some fresh air.
A 2024 study by Dr. Ebenezer Mankwa from the University of Ghana reveals that urban slums like Agbogbloshie are experiencing a unique heat health burden. A dangerous combination of chronic heat exposure, poor air quality, and limited access to health care.
We have installed heat detection devices in rooms and hospitals. For setup, position windows to face each other and orient buildings to allow wind flow, reducing heat impact.
Agencies like the Environmental Protection Agency have launched urban greening initiatives in selected guard zones, promoting natural cooling in heat-prone neighborhoods.
The EPA encourages Ghanaians to plant trees in their homes.
Climate resilience must be inclusive, no one left behind. Agbogbloshie is just one of many forgotten corners in Accra where the cost of climate inaction is already too high. Experts say health-focused, heat-sensitive interventions are urgently needed in such areas, and projects like GARD could be the blueprint. But until action meets urgency, the most vulnerable will remain dangerously exposed. Prince Owusu Esiedu's report read to you.
This story is brought to you by JoyNews in partnership with CDKN Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from CLARE R4I Opportunities Fund.
Away from that, Vice President Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman has announced that the Ghana Education Service will review existing school discipline frameworks as part of efforts to address student misconduct at an early stage and prevent situations from escalating. Professor Opoku-Agyeman made the announcement when she served as the distinguished guest of honor at the 69th President's Independence Day Award ceremony held here in Accra.
Today we recognize 52 outstanding students chosen from public and private schools in our nation's 16 regions, including students with visual and hearing impairments. They deserve extra applause. As a nation, our duty is to keep ensuring that every child, no matter their ability or background, has the chance to learn, grow, and succeed. I extend my warmest congratulations to our students. Where are the award winners? Will you stand for a minute? I congratulate you effectively. Your discipline and perseverance have brought prestige to your homes, your schools, and to this country. I urge you to use this momentum to pursue greater responsibilities and achievements. You can sit down for the time being. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's Independence Day theme, that is building prosperity, restoring hope, is a call to action to all of us, especially our young people. Prosperity is not built by infrastructure and policies alone. It is also built by law-abiding students and citizens who understand that personal conduct has national repercussions. We have seen troubling developments, including reports of exam malpractices in some schools, vandalism, and increasing disrespect towards school authorities and rules. Only a small percentage of our youth engage in these behaviors. However, they risk undermining national progress and sending the wrong signals about the Ghana we want. In response to these concerns, therefore, the Ministry of Education, through the Ghana Education Service and key stakeholders, are working to strengthen discipline and value-based education across our schools. We will support schools in reinforcing guidance and counseling systems and ensuring that disciplinary measures remain firm, fair, and respectful of children's rights and dignity.
Away from that, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, is urging the Muslim community to use the holy month of Ramadan as a period of fervent intercession that will lead to the cessation of hostilities in the Middle East arising from the killing of the Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ali Khamenei. Ghana's embassies and consulates posts in Qatar, UAE, and other Gulf states throughout the week have been working out a coordinated emergency response mechanism that will ensure the safety of citizens living in the volatile region. Speaking at the second edition of the Iftar Dinner organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa prayed for religious tolerance, hoping that interfaith harmony will be promoted in the holy month. The Chief Imam Osman Nuhu Sarabutu, who days before condemned the killing of Iran's Supreme Leader, was also represented at the event.
This divine message speaks directly to the essence of diplomacy: mutual respect, understanding across cultures, and cooperation for the common good. Your Excellencies, we are living in very challenging times, particularly for our brothers and sisters in the Muslim world. our collective conscience is being called upon at a time of great stress in the Middle East and the Gulf regions. And it is my fervent prayer that we use this blessed month of Ramadan to pray for peace to reign and for the guns to be silenced in this region. We also ask that this holy month of Ramadan will lead to a cessation and a de-escalation of the ongoing conflict. Your Excellencies, the presence of the diplomatic corps this evening is a very significant reminder of the strong bonds of friendship, mutual respect, and constructive engagement that exists between our country and the larger international community. At a time when the world faces complex challenges, from conflict and insecurity to economic and humanitarian pressures, occasions such as this reaffirm the importance of dialogue, of partnership, and of mutual cooperation. I wish to extend heartfelt recognition to our coordinating directors, ambassadors, and directors of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, whose unwavering dedication and exemplary leadership have been pivotal in advancing Ghana's diplomacy.
Away from that, the Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, Al-Hassan Suhini, has warned that the ministry will not tolerate substandard work by contractors on the Tamale Third Ring Road project. He said quality of work is at the heart of what the road ministry is doing, adding that the ministry would hold the contractors to the standards they expect them to deliver. The minister said this when he inspected the project under the Big Push agenda in Tamale.
The Tamale Third Ring Road is set to improve traffic flow in the city and enhance connectivity to neighboring districts when completed. Speaking after inspecting the project, the Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, Al-Hassan Suhini, said whilst others had done a good job, others had fallen short.
As we have gone round, the impression is mixed. We are impressed with some sections, but we are very disappointed in the progress of work as far as some sections are concerned. We have expressed our disappointment to some of the people or contractors that are responsible of the sections that we are not very pleased with, and we will have a meeting with them also at the RCC, and that will feed into the report that we will submit to the minister to appropriately take action. We are not going to take lightly concerns regarding poor work or poor pace of work. Quality of work is at the heart of what we are doing, and we will make sure that we hold the contractors to the highest of standards that we expect them to execute their projects to.
He said discussions are underway to compensate those whose properties were destroyed.
Many of the property owners are cooperating so far. They have presented whatever documents that they have to show ownership, and the Land Valuation Board of the Land Commission is also collaborating with the Urban Roads Department to ensure that the appropriate values are determined, and we have the assurance that by next week the contractor on some of the sections would have made funds available for the compensation to begin as soon as possible.
The director at Urban Roads in the region said the Tamale Third Ring Road has 3 contractors on the project.
The scope of this project is 34 kilometers of dual carriage, 33 to be precise, of dual carriage, and we have 3 contractors. The work has been divided into 3 lots. Lot 1 being done by Michel's China Railway number 5, Lot 2 being done by Michel's Sino Hydro, and Lot 3 being done by Michel's Monisco Limited. So they are all doing approximately 11 kilometers of dual carriage each. We would have expected that ordinarily within 4 months we would have done a lot more. But we will listen to the challenges that are being faced, and as you said, we will make our appropriate recommendations.
Well, away from that, the medical superintendent of St. Edward Catholic Hospital, Dr. Christopher Anani, has confirmed that 6 persons survived the ghastly accident at Potrikrum in the Ashanti region. Out of the survivors, they tell us that 3 have been treated and discharged, while 3 others are still in critical condition and are receiving care. They've been referred to the Kofanoti Teaching Hospital and the St. John of God Hospital for further medical care.
According to Dr. Anani, the death toll remains 16. However, the 6 injured victims currently receiving treatment are responding positively.
Apparently, when we on the spot in the now 5 now I expired the X-ray and so at the count.
We were here and they brought 5 bodies. Later they brought 2. All expired later on. 6 people were also brought injured and we treated them to discharge. 3 are on referral.
3 are call big cock of nothing we call St. John of God. Among my friend police for the vehicle by at the form in our echo. Me past 7 a day because of money in our police and same.
Speaking to Adum News during a visit to the scene, he disclosed that preliminary investigations indicate that the vehicles involved in the crash were traveling from Drobo in the Bono region.
Ambulance na a day case if Drobo
Our information noted that the ambulance was coming from Drobo and a passenger car was traveling to Drobo and they had a head-on collision.
That casualties,
At the St. Edward Mortuary, grieving families gathered to identify the bodies of their loved ones in what was a deeply sorrowful scene. Meanwhile, police have launched investigations to determine the exact cause of the fatal accident which occurred on Tuesday, March 3rd. A resident of Potrikrum, Openyin Kwekwedu, recounted the ambulance was speeding with its siren blaring and attempted to overtake a trailer, resulting in a head-on collision.
And ambulance was saying up and about when the moon is ambulance and I can say, we're overtaking. That's a man, so what do I tell them to do? I just say, well, phone and not just when a man was already booming. I said, by
I was sitting here and heard the ambulance coming on top speed, and there was a trailer coming which the ambulance tried to overtake and landed in a ghastly accident. Joseph Obin's report for JoyNews.
You're still watching The Pulse. We'll be back with more. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying with us here on The Pulse. Well, it's time now for our regional segment right here on The Pulse. We're taking a tour across parts of the country to gauge the mood and the pulse of Ghanaians on a number of pressing national issues. Joining us from the regions are Isaac Nonya from the Savannah region. I also have Abigail Esel in Nkrumah from the Central region. Rafiq Salam is in the Upper West region and Anas Sabit is in the Bono region. I also have Inatalia Kwanzaa from the Western region. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on The Pulse. I'll start with Rafiq Salam. What exactly is the mood in your region ahead of Independence Day?
the mood in the Upper West region is that of something that is good because the people are looking up to what is happening, what will happen tomorrow. A lot of activities are lined up in the various districts in the Upper West region. Some will be doing marching, others will also be doing a cultural display. And then as we are speaking now, the current news is that the West Member of Parliament Superintendent retired Senator Tumu is addressing the press on some key concerns in his constituency. You can let in and see what the Honorable Superintendent to have for us.
As a member of has this come
Thank you very much. In a democracy, when we find people that express themselves, we call it freedom of expression. They are right. And I think that has come up. Democracy. So when you find a young person that is expressing, letting the world know how they feel, it's better than Portland. When people are angry or they're prevented from speaking, and actually have to grow up. But what has happened from members in the past, police have sent men and women to go and just keep their mouth and stop them from doing what they're doing. That was it. But now it's come of age. In that freedom, we'll talk about responsible citizens. The people of one West are very responsible people. We allow them to speak their mind, and leaders like us will take note and see what we can do to ensure that peace and repeat peace is back in our way. I am quite aware of the issue that is about 2 young men who were kidnapped and dead. The police are saying that the police are focused. Now also believe.
Well, we'll come back to Rafiq Salam just to walk us through what he has been saying, because we had to cut that. The sound is not that audible, and I presume that at home as well you're facing the same challenge. But let's head now to the Savannah region. Isaac Nonya is there for us. Isaac, what are residents concerned about in your region, particularly farmers?
The residents are concerned about 2 particular issues. One, lack of jobs among the youth, and then lack of access to market from commercial farmers. Now, commodities like rice and maize are in abundance in warehouses to the extent that families and commercial farmers in the central region who are mainly into commercial production of rice and maize have packed them, some of them converted their private rooms into warehouses. You know, we just have a month away to the rainy season, and these farmers are saying that if things remain like this without market, they will have to take a rest, and then some of them will have to go back into charcoal farm production. Away from this lack of market or access to ready market.
But even before you move away from that, stay there, because we recall that the president during the State of the Nation address said that some 300 million has been earmarked to help buy some of this produce. Is it the case that farmers are not receiving the monies, or they've not heard at all from the buffer stock company?
From what I heard from one commercial producer of rice, one Abdul Fattah at Central Gonja, he told me that he heard the pronouncement from the president, but he will appeal to the buffer stock to move to a regional level and buy the things. Fast forward, this is the 2nd month, but the man said he has added more bags of rice to the about 500 maize that he already harvested, bags of maize that he has gotten. And now a single bag has not been bought from buffer stock or for any commercial, dealer. Now, one significant challenge that brought this thing to bear has to do with the closure of the borders. You know, Burkina Faso, Togo, and Cote d'Ivoire. These were 2 international market. The people could either come to buy, especially in Damago. Trucks will come from Burkina Faso, park in their numbers, and load a good number of maize and rice across Burkina Faso, and the vice versa. Today, That is not the issue. All the borders have been closed. You cannot export, neither can an importer. An importer comes in to buy and go out. Because of that, the market is limited to only the market women and that of the poultry producers. With the market women, they will tell you that even when they buy, the usual market, which happens to be Techima, is also battling with similar problem. And because of that, you have a good number of women who are out of business because they cannot buy and retail. And when they also go to buy, the producer will realize that a 60 kg, who used to go for 1,500 cedis in 2024, now goes for 500 cedis. As of yesterday, same bag goes to 450 in Damago, and in Tamale, 500 cedis. So if you go to Tumu in the Upper West, and then Bulinga in the West East, where I visited some time ago to have a chat with commercial producer for maize, they told me that 100 kg in Tumu was sold at 300 Ghana cedis, while in Bulinga was sold at 250. If you go to North Gonja, around 100 meters away from the business town, that place, a bag of granite goes for 300 cedis. But if you come to Damago, it goes for 600 cedis. A bag of maize there goes for 300 cedis. If you come to Damago, it goes for 500 cedis. So the market is not stable, but all to the disadvantage of the farmer.
You also raised other concerns about jobs in that constituency, the region. What are residents telling you?
Well, I engaged residents in West Gonja, particularly at the Larbanga town. And they said that having invested much of their time and energy and resources into the success of the party NDC, they have nothing to show, and they have not gained anything from the party, for that matter, the government. The thing now is time for government to look up to what they have done and be able to also give them not just any job, but strategic, what they call strategic jobs. Jobs that can make them to stand on their feet and also feed their family and relations.
And stay with me, Isaac, but let me head now to the central region. Abigail Essel in Nkrumah is there for us. Abigail, what's the mood in your region, especially as we have just a few more hours to 6 March?
Right. So for
Abigail, I can hear you. Abigail, you have to unmute for us to hear you clearly. I'm just finding out from you what exactly the preparations are ahead of Independence Day celebration in your region. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so for several adults that I've been speaking to, tomorrow is expected to be a very normal day for them. But passing by some schools, I see some excitement with the students. You see a lot of teachers and the students training for some March events that will be happening tomorrow. So it's a mixture of excitement and nerves for the students in the region. But for adults, tomorrow is expected to be a very normal day for them.
And how is the water situation in the central region?
So currently also in some communities, the taps are not flowing. When you go to some areas in Elmina, for instance, the taps are not flowing. We've been able to speak to people at the Ghana Water Company, and they said they are working on it. But for some time now, the taps are not flowing. But we know that some residents that I've been speaking to have stored some water. They are not sure for how long they can be using what they've stored. So we are just all waiting on the Ghana Water Company to open the taps so that people are comfortable in their houses.
But we received assurances that they would be dealing with that situation, the Ghana Water Company. Have you tried engaging any of them in your region?
So I have been speaking to some management. They haven't really been open to speak to the situation currently, but mostly it's the residents that are complaining. They are complaining that for some time now they haven't had water, potable water actually. So So some of them rely on, streams and lakes in their areas. But engagement with Ghana Water Company has been very limited because they are not open to speak to the situation. But we are still working to interact with them to gauge what exactly is causing the closure of pipes or taps in the area. And then we'll be bringing you reports and subsequent bulletins.
Thank you so much, Abigail. Let me bring in Rafiq Salam. I was engaging him earlier. Rafiq, in the Upper West region, are residents even reacting to this concern about this life sentence handed over to a serial killer who pleaded guilty in court? Tell us more.
The people of the Upper West region, much as they are really excited about the conviction and also the sentencing of this serial killer, Sheriff Abdullahi Christoph, they are happy that he has been handed a life sentence, but they are saying that they are of the opinion that he is not the only, accomplice. He's not the only suspect in this particular case. They're saying that the police or the civil agencies should dig more into the issue so that they can have several accomplices and then bring them to justice. We just spoke to Veterinary Secretary Tumu, the West Member of Parliament, who was really happy about what transpired in that power. He lauded the police service here and then also the Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service for at least putting his boots down and also working to ensure that this serial killer is arrested and also sentenced to life imprisonment. But there are also concerns that are being raised here in the Upper West region here regarding the issue of insecurity, and then particularly the West district who he spoke about, and he thinks that the police should at least up the ante and then work more to ensure that the district is more secure.
And Rafiq, I know you have a report on that, and we'll be playing that to our audience shortly. But then stay with me. I'll come to you to find out how preparations are ongoing in your region, especially because we know that we'll be celebrating Independence Day tomorrow. I'll also be finding out what the key concerns are for individuals in your region, because I know you've been engaging some of them. Let me move now to Anas Sabit, also joining the conversation as well. Anas, what's happening in your region?
Faustina, last week the president, addressed the nation through the State of the Nation. And in Parliament, of course, the people of the region have been talking about some three key things the president spoke about. This is purely an agrarian region. This is seen as the food basket of the country. And the announcement of the farmer service centers by the president is something that is welcoming to the people of the Bono region. But what they want the government to do for that particular, policy is to focus more on irrigation. In this particular region, we have lots and lots of vegetable farmers. If you go to Chobodom, Tichiman, Kintampo, and other parts of the region, we have a lot of, farmers who are into tomato, pepper, cabbage, lettuce, and what have you. But because of the absence of irrigation facilities, they find it very, very difficult to farm all year round. And of course, with the recent issues that had to do with traders who went to Burkina Faso, and then some 8 of them losing their lives, these farmers here want government to, focus more on irrigation through the farmer service centers. They are saying if you bring tractors and other equipments here in these areas, it will not be actually helpful to them. So government should now focus on irrigation systems to help boost, agriculture or vegetable production in this region. The people, some of the people I spoke with are also concerned about, the announcement of, 3 government factories that the president announced last week, one in the eastern region, central region, and in the Bono East region. They believe that this government factory, if, it comes to being, will help deal with the, huge number of unemployed youth in the region. We also know that the president announced that we're going to have a new public university in this particular region. That is also one welcoming news for most of the people I have been engaging, because over the years, if you are in this region and you want to attend to any public tertiary institution or university, you have to travel out. And so they believe that should we have our own region, university in Techiman or in the Bono East region, that will help boost education entirely in the region. So these are the 3 major things that people here are concerned about so far as the State of the Nation address read by the president is concerned last week.
And Anas, how are preparations towards Independence Day? Is anything happening in your region?
it's quite slow, if I should put it that way. We know for sure that there's not going to be any regional, parades from the Regional Coordinating Council. And we know that the various districts are taking it up to celebrate, the day tomorrow. We know some regions, some districts will be having the parade. Others will be hosting some games and, other competitions to ensure that the day is celebrated well. But as to whether we're going to have a regional independence parade, that has been cancelled or that is off as I speak to you now.
And let me bring back Rafiq Salam, because I'm wondering, is the situation same in the Upper West region? How preparations towards the Independence Day? Rafiq, you have to unmute for me to hear you. Okay, while we wait for Rafiq Salam, I'm told I still have Isaac Moya. Oh, Rafiq is back. Okay. Hi, Rafiq. I was finding out in your region, what's the atmosphere like? Are people preparing towards Independence Day celebration, or like Anas, people are not really concerned about it?
I will tell you that the celebration in the Upper West region is on threefold. I'm told that the district assemblies have been given 3 options. One, you can decide to have a district parade. The second one, you can also do some kind of cultural activities. And then the third one, you can do competitions like quiz or football matches. And so I know districts like the West East, they have decided to do an independence parade at Fancy, the district capital. And so preparation in the Upper West region regarding the Independence Day and anniversary is ongoing, and then also they are trying to fine-tune it to make it a success.
And are residents even reacting to the recent figures released by the Statistical Service on inflation? We're seeing the numbers drop significantly.
Talking about inflation, the people will tell you that yes, it's good that we have a lower inflation, but they will tell you that they want to find inflation, they want to get it in their pockets. And so whatever that statistics that are being churned out by the government or the statisticians, they want to see it reflect in their pockets.
And as is that the case in your area? Do they want to see it reflect in their pockets?
Faustina, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, good. So we know that inflation has dropped to an all-time low. I mean, in recent years, from 2021, this is the lowest, 3.3%. However, the people here are saying they are not actually feeling it in their pockets. Food prices are still high in major markets here in the Bono-East region. We also know the hike in electricity tariffs is also compounding to the hardships that people here are going through. And as I speak to you currently, we know there's a rise in fuel prices as well. Just this morning, I noticed most of the fuel stations across the region have seen a rise in their fuel prices. And this, according to some residents here, is going to make matters worse for them, because if food, electricity, and fuel are all rising at this state, irrespective of the low or lower inflation rate, they believe that things are really going to be hard for them in the coming years with the Israel, US, and then Iran war in mind. So inflation is low, all right, but the people here are actually not feeling that in their pockets.
But talking about the war, though, what have they been saying about it? I'll come to all of you to find out if residents in your community are concerned about the impact of the US-Iran war. But I'll start with Anas.
So Faustina, the people here I engage, especially the Muslim community, we are in the Mount of Sudan, and a lot of them are already preparing to embark on the Hajj activity, which is a couple of months away. They are quite disturbed. Some do not know whether this war is going to last that long, and if it should do, they are very worried that it might affect their trip to the Holy Land to observe, that religious obligation. Others are also saying that, like we saw during the NPP administration when the Russian-Ukraine war started, how things were difficult for the people of the country, precisely with regards to fuel and the cost of living. They believe that if this war should be prolonged, Ghanaians are going to feel the pinch of that particular war here in the region as well.
And stay with me. Let me go to Isaac Nonya now, who is also joining us live. Isaac, I spoke to you earlier, but I just want to find out, are residents in your community reacting to the inflation figures we're seeing?
Well, they're reacting indirectly. Reacting indirectly in the sense that commodities that concern them regarding some of this inflation have to do like water and electricity bills. They have seen a jump of water prices per gallon, jerrycan, and that of electricity bills. Previously, a jerrycan of water used to go for 1 cedi 50 pesos. I will speak, one goes for 200 cedis. If you know if there's any issue that have hunted them and go for decades, it is water, access to potable water. And a period like this, you see a good number of people even battling to get people to be able to supply them water. That aside, the cost of electricity this period is, according to people, you go and buy, and within weeks, you run out of credit. And to extend that, landlords and tenants are having issues regarding the authenticity of the wiring of their houses and the way they live. Now, back to the farmer and that of the access to market issue. Now, Savannah region is known for its agricultural activities. If you come to a region now, what the farmers are saying is that they have a farmer group called the Savannah Farmers Brigade. This is the association that hosts almost all commercial farmers in the region. Now, if government should able to extend to make do with its buffer stock pronouncement, then they should come to the region, not just come, but they should be seen buying the goods at the regional level. So they are calling on the president to get back to the ground and make sure that the buffer stock is seen buying the product from the farmers on the ground. If not that, farmers, I'm sure many of them, according to them, will not go into production. Large-scale production comes April and the subsequent months for the 2026-2027 farming season.
And Isaac, are they reacting to the U.S.-Iran war and the possible implications?
Well, not directly. We have individuals who sit in groups and think that this thing would definitely affect their pocket. Why? Because if fuel prices goes up internationally, it will trickle down to the country and then to the region. Once the shortage hits government cannot able to receive the shock, but to balance it on producers, consumer on the ground. So they are reacting, but not loudly.
Okay, stay with me, gentlemen, because I'll come back to you for your final words. But going back to Rafiq's region, because in that region a lot has been happening. I'm taking you to Wa. Residents there say that they are welcoming the life sentence handed down to a serial killer, a 31-year-old cobbler, Sharif Abdullahi, who confessed to killing 16 people in the Upper West region and 5 others in the Savannah region. There's more in the following report.
Yes, we are not actually happy to the judgment sentences to Sharif in life and prison. But actually, when it comes to law, it's always critical. So far as he is pled guilty on the court of law. But if not, to our sense of understanding, that series of killing cannot involve in a single person. Yeah, as it states, they told us earlier on that we should all be vigilant. But as investigation was going on, it was not only Sharif that they apprehend in the police station. But why is it that we hear nothing about the case?
Yes, I'm very happy with the sentence because he pleaded guilty to the act. So that's why I'm happy. So if he's actually the one that committed the act, then I'm happy for the sentence. It will serve as a deterrent if there are other people who are involved in such acts. So it will serve as a deterrent to them.
Well, some residents there in Wa just sharing their thoughts about the sentence handed over to that serial killer. It's quite shocking. Rafiq, I know you're still with us. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around how one individual can kill that much people. But walk us through what transpired in court. I know you were in court as well.
To be honest, I was around the court. I was not inside the court.
Okay.
But the information that we indicated that the accused person who is now being sentenced, Sharif Abdullahi, pleaded guilty to the service level agreement. To life imprisonment.
And this is shocking, really. As we speak, we know that residents are still shocked, but in the area, is security actually tight enough? Have they beefed up security on the back of his admission?
For the past 3, 4, 5 years, when this issue pop up in the region, many people in Wa, particularly those who own shop bars, restaurants, and also some of the busy places that are in Wa in the night, they were closing before their real time. So the life activities or the nightlife activities of the people of the Wa Central was somehow curtailed. But ever since this Sharif Abdullahi guy was arrested, at least it has brought some kind of confidence into the people here, and then now people are going around their activities well. But we wait for an important issue which has to do with whether it is Sharif Abdullahi, whether it was he alone who actually all these 23 personalities, and that's what most people in the streets of Wa are also talking about. They think that the act that occurred between 2021 and about 2025 simple, was sophisticated, and they think that only one person couldn't have committed such an act. And so they would like the police to delve deep into this issue and then to bring other accomplices to also to book.
And then as we wrap up with all of you, I'll start with Rafiq. Your expectations for tomorrow, and what should we even expect from you? I'll come to Rafiq for that, but let me head now to Isaac Nonya. Regarding 6 March, I know tomorrow you'll be on duty. Thankfully, I will not be on duty, but then what should we expect from you?
Well, obviously, we want to hear from residents what they think about this year's 6 March, and if you have any impacts considering previous celebrations in their lives. And just to touch on where Rafiq dropped or ended, the same convict that they just convicted, executed similar things at Bole and that of Solatuna Kaba districts. And in fact, he was identified and suspected by a resident. He used to come around like as a cobbler in the market. But one resident suspected him not to be genuine. But he was not taken serious by the police until he was arrested in Upper West. That is the point. But what resident in general, Savannah region, we need to hear from government, as in the form of cushioning, is to open the borders for them to be able to trade their hard-earned produce. Remember, they purchased the inputs and produced enough until this ban came. So in order to get back to business, including input dealers, they will not be able to sell as before because these commercial farmers will not go back to the market once they are not going to produce in large scale. And then the water issue in Damago in particular. I think it's high time that government should get its act together and come to the aid of the people to be able to address this water situation once and for all, because cholera cases in Damago in particular, I know you go to the St. Anne Catholic Hospital, if you don't get cholera cases close to 10 or 7, that means you have not seen any case yet. It has even dominated the OBD case, which have used to be that of malaria. So these are the issues that concern, Ghanaians or residents in Savannah region, particularly at the regional capital.
And then, Anas, as we wrap up, what should we expect from you tomorrow with the Independence Day coverage? Anas, you have to unmute for me to hear you clearly.
Yes, so like we know, if it has to do with matters happening across the country, then JoyNews is the most reliable platform. And whatever is going to happen here in the Bono East region will be all over to report on how the people here marking the 69th independence anniversary celebration of the country. So we'll be on the grounds. We'll tell the stories of what the people are saying and then what authorities are doing so far as this particular day is concerned.
Thank you, Anas. And I'm wrapping up with Rafiq as well. What should we expect from you?
Here, all the 11 municipal districts in the Upper West region will be celebrating this particular day, and then we'll have our ears on the ground. Particularly, our focus will be on the Nadoli Keleu district and also the Wall West district. And so, definitely, we'll bring everything to you. But I wanted to say that as Binonia actually took the wind out of my sails talking about this maize glut, in the northern belt of the country. If you go to, like you stated, if you go to the Sasala area, there are lots of maize, several thousand tons of maize in that particular area. And so the people are really appealing to the government to come to that. If we talk about buffer stock, the president made mention of buffer stock that they have been giving some money to come and then also, take care of these issues. But I want to report to you that this money never came to the Upper West region. The money is insignificant. And so they need to bring more to help out to build our people out. Yes, from a few months ago, we're going into the farming season. And then many farmers are really wondering. Even some of them are even trying to take.
Oh dear.
Hello?
Rafiq, we could hear you,
Hello?
but we lost you briefly.
Hello?
Rafiq, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you now.
Great. Just finalize on that point for me.
I'm talking about the issue of the maize glut in the Upper West region. I actually said that Isaac Anonia actually took the wind out of my sails here in the Upper West region, particularly the Sasala enclave, the food basket of the Upper West region. We can report to you that there are a lot of maize, several thousands of tons of maize in the Sasala enclave, and so they are appealing to the government to come to their aid. Some farmers are at a loss; they just don't know what to do now with their maize, and so government. President Mahama announced that buffer stock was instructed to go into buy some of these maize. But I can tell you that the money that was given to the buffer stock company, the farmers are saying that it's insignificant. It was not able to take care of their produce here. And so they are appealing to the government to come to their aid.
Thank you so much, Rafiq. I'm looking forward to your report with your signature ending tomorrow from my home. I'll be watching you as well. Well, still on regional stories, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagwing, has called for stringent measures in deploying technology in the training of learners at the various levels of education. According to him, technology, though an important training tool, threatens the moral upbringing of children due to its distractive nature. Speaking at an event in the Whole West District of the Volta region, Bagwing said the use of technology in education could threaten the country's future. Here's why.
The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagwing, joined the chiefs and people of the Awudome traditional area to commission a rehabilitated traditional council in Anyirawasi. He also cut the sword for the construction of an 8-unit classroom block for the Anyirawasi EP Primary School to enhance access to education in the area. Addressing the gathering, Mr. Bagwing underscored the need to protect the country's cultural heritage, emphasizing the role of chieftaincy in maintaining peace in Ghana.
Chieftaincy is the binding force that has held our nation and its people together for centuries. And there is a lot to learn from chieftaincy. That is one of the features that have been identified by researchers to show why Ghana is a land of peace in the middle of a struggle sub-region called West Africa. Because of our chieftaincy tradition, they are able to solve differences, micro differences at that level, preventing them from magnifying themselves to become national crises.
Mr. Bagwing, who is also Togbinu Tefewola Awudoma I, outlined the dangers of the use of technology in training the younger generation as it contributes to moral decadence.
We must not allow technology to destroy the future of our children. In fact, in some Scandinavian countries, they've gone back to the blackboard and the chalk. They are moving away from computer back to the manual learning because of the destructive effect of the computer. We might not allow this to destroy the future of our children, but assist them to become a better version of themselves.
The Awudome traditional authorities lauded Mr. Bagbin's interest in development and called for further support to strengthen the chieftaincy institution in the area. Fred Kwame Asari, JoyNews, Anyawasi.
And that's how I wrap up the polls. I appreciate your time and company. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. Some top stories that we told you about. The CLOGSAG strike, they have declared a nationwide strike, and that is to take effect from Monday.